This is LXBN TV, and I'm Colin O'Keefe. In a story that's seen a lot of coverage, Apple is facing a lot of trouble over in China over the iPad trademark. To discuss it, we bring in Dan Harris of Harris & Moure and the excellent China Law Blog, probably one of the best publications out there on law in China. Dan, starting off, what's the background here? It's my understanding that this isn't necessarily as much a case about trademark, but the acquisition of the trademark.
Correct, and that's how I see it. What happened is Apple bought the trade name iPad many years ago. I think it was maybe 2000 or 2001. Actually, it may have been after that. But they bought the trade name iPad from a company in Taiwan called ProView. And Apple bought this trademark using a third-party intermediary. But it has turned out that it was not the Taiwanese company that actually owned this trademark in mainland China. It was a related company, a company that was related to the Taiwanese company, and that's where all the problems started.
I see. So yeah, as you mentioned, Apple used a third-party intermediary to negotiate with the company that they believed to own the Apple trademark, but why do companies use it? Why did Apple use this third-party intermediary? And it's my understanding that they've faced even some trouble for just doing that from the Taiwanese company.
Right, the Taiwanese company has sued Apple for that, claiming that Apple acted deceptively, which has come as a great surprise to every lawyer I have talked to about this, because using a third-party intermediary is incredibly common. In fact, we have done that many times for our American clients when we have discovered that someone in China has their trade name, meaning that, let's say you have an American company called Ace, and they make widgets, and they want to go into China, and somebody already has the Ace name for widgets in China. The American company, if they're going to go under the Ace name in China, needs to get that trademark from the Chinese company. Mm-hmm. But if an American company or an American lawyer were to call up the Chinese company and ask about buying the trademark, the Chinese company, even if they're not using that trademark, would instantly ask for $1 million.
Yeah.
And so what we do and what everybody else does is we have someone Chinese in China, not a lawyer, make the phone call, negotiate it, and do the deal. And that's what Apple did, and that's what everyone's always done. Mm-hmm. So that seems to be this is the first I've ever heard of someone acting like that's deceptive. And if you believe in capitalism, it really isn't deceptive, because what you had, no matter who did the buying, is a willing buyer and a willing seller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's just basic negotiations. Keeping your cards close to the vest. You're not going to go over and say, "Hey, we'd like this trademark for a massively produced product that we're trying to make a bunch of money on." It'd be like saying, "Hey, how much is this house? By the way, I have $1 billion."
Exactly. And if you're Apple, every time you're basically saying, "By the way, I have many billions of dollars."
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
And of course, what happens from here? I know ProView wants to halt the export of iPads. Is my understanding is Apple, because of its standing as one of the largest and most profitable companies in the world, are they kind of getting by on this because they're Apple?
Perhaps. The situation right now, as I understand it, is that the ProView related company, which is based in Shenzhen, which is mainland China, they clearly own the iPad trademark in China, in the sense that if you go to the trademark office in China and see who registered and owns the iPad name, it's ProView Shenzhen. Mm-hmm. That being the case, it would seem that ProView Shenzhen ought to be able to stop anyone else from using the iPad name in China. But they have not necessarily been able to do that. I say necessarily because it's my understanding that at least one court has allowed them to do that in one region in China, but I believe the Shanghai and Beijing courts have not allowed ProView to stop Apple from using the iPad name in China. And it's my understanding that the rationale for these courts not stopping Apple from using the name is all based on Apple's claim that the name should have been transferred to Apple back when their intermediary bought the name many years ago. But what's interesting about China, which a lot of people fail to account for, is that if China stops Apple from using the iPad name in China, it goes well beyond Apple not being able to sell product in China with the name iPad on it. It also would include Apple not being able to manufacture product in China with the iPad name on it, which basically would mean Apple's either going to have to pull the name iPad off its iPads or have them manufactured somewhere else. That could be the end result of all this.
Yeah, and I think I think you touched on this. I think that's probably a situation that Apple doesn't want to get into, and even China doesn't want to be in a position where they're. I mean, Apple has the money if they absolutely need to make this go away, but I mean, it would look not great diplomatically if China were to be like, we're going to slow this whole thing down. We're going to cut off one of the most highly demanded consumer products. So it'll be interesting to watch going forward and see what happens.
Well, and that's exactly right. One thing that we're always telling our clients is to not worry about politics when deciding whether to bring a lawsuit in China. Because if you're bringing a $1 million breach of contract lawsuit in China, that does not go up to the Politburo. It's a judge that's going to decide it based on business considerations. But when push comes to shove, China's courts are not independent, and they are politicized. And this case is the exact kind of case that could very well be determined not based on the law, but what the top people in Beijing tell the courts they need to do.
It's gonna be interesting to watch going forward to see how this plays out. I don't think we'll get to a place where they have to change the name of the iPad, but you never know, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Again, that's Dan Harris of Harris & Moure and the excellent China Law Blog. For more on the story, Dan has a couple excellent posts on it. For more details, go check that out at ChinaLawBlog.com, and of course we have more at LXBN.lexblog.com. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.